Welcome to our Spain Perspectivas. Hello, Gaetano. How's it going?
It's going great, Tanya. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. We have a fun interview today
That we
with,
do.
we do, right?
And
with
not only fun, it's actually very informative, I gather to say.
It is extremely informative if you are interested in either meat or opening a business in Valencia or Spain or maybe even Europe. I don't know.
Right.
We're interviewing Kenneth from Bistec, which is a Argentinian meat store here in Valencia, and he gives us lots of information on how to open businesses, or not how to open business, how he did it, so we can learn from him. But
Yes.
first, do you
But
have
first,
an Spain for us?
I do. And it's an
It
Spain.
is. We love those.
So the girls and I went to go see Hamnet at the movie theater, and
Woo-hoo.
I will recommend anyone to go see that movie because it was amazing. And don't wait for it streaming. There you go. There's my
Okay.
plug. Not non-paid plug, everyone. Just so you know, this is real information here. But we went to the theater and on a Saturday, and by Monday, I realized I didn't have my baseball cap that I had worn that evening to brave the winter tundra.
Okay. Wait, a baseball cap?
Yeah.
How does that help?
Well, when you have a bald head, any covering helps.
Any coverage. And I'm not going to mention the fact that it took you 2 days to realize that you had left it.
Well, I hadn't left the house since then, so there was no reason for me to look for it. So I was taking the girls to the bus stop, and I was like, "Where's my hat? Where's my hat?" Searched all over, couldn't find it. And then I was like, "I wonder if I left it at the movie theater." So I was like, great. Well, I had to wait until 3. And I'm like, it's not going to be there. It's been a couple days. So I walked over to the movie theater at opening, and they had it. And she was like, hold on. And she came down. But what was also funny is that I wasn't the only elderly gentleman, because I realize I am now entering pre-elderliness, that I leave my hat at places. And there was a line of us men that had lost various caps and hats, yes, over the weekend. And she came down with a handful of caps to dole out to us sad souls.
So it wasn't just baseball caps, because I was going to be rude about the fact that maybe nobody wanted a baseball cap here, so therefore it was still there. But it was an array of different hats, maybe?
Yes, there was like woolen tams, the Spaniards wear, that very typical English hat. There was those, yeah. So
that's lovely.
It was an Spain, because I don't know if back in Los Angeles I could have gone back 3 days later and found my hat. And it was my Olympics baseball cap, so it was a special one. It wasn't like, it was like, oh, I wear that one all the time. It's a happy joy memory.
You never know. Yeah. Well, that's lovely. I like that.
Yeah. And how have you been this week? Do you have any things you want to share before we go right into this interview?
No, I finally have my office set up. I guess that could be something, but it's taken months because it had been the dumping ground for all of our boxes when we moved. So I'm actually right now sitting at a desk.
At a desk?
What? With a proper chair.
Now, can I share with our audience that now that your transitional days of movings and Airbnbs and all that stuff is over, what people don't realize is that there was at one point in one of your Airbnbs that Tanya was recording in a closet because the echo was so bad.
Yes, I was on the floor in the closet. Yes. It was the best spot in the house, but it's like when it's not your place, you can't be like adjusting things for podcasting. Right. And well, closets are known for that, I suppose. But now, yeah, it's very exciting to finally have this room sort of sorted. So
and the question also remains that I have to ask, because we haven't been invited. So when are we coming in for your housewarming? When do we get to bring you a potted plant or something?
When they stop doing festivals. We've had festivals like every week.
Well, we want to come for a festival.
Well, I mean, for those of you that have pets, you will appreciate that the festivals right now, our dog does not like any of the firecrackers and the fireworks and stuff that go on for everything. So every festival has been a bit stressful, trying to get her to calm down and all this. And we're trying multiple things, and we have a trainer that's helping us. But it's a it's not something that gets fixed overnight, but they will do fireworks every single weekend, and then every little bit in between. And I'm coming up to Fallas, so I'm trying to, with all these little festivals, kind of getting her a little better, hopefully, so that by the time Fallas comes, we don't have to just split and go somewhere else. So
it'll be interesting, your perspective. I mean, this is pre-episode chatter for coming up. Is we've already done a Fallas episode last year, so we're not going to rehash old stuff, but we're going to bring in new stuff in the future. So it'll be interesting to see how Fallas is done in your new village closer to the city,
because we were actually here during COVID, right after COVID, but they weren't doing it. So we have lived in this town during a Fallas, but it was not happening. And then when we lived up in the mountains, because we were in a natural park, a national park, the fireworks and all the firecrackers were banned outside of the actual city, the town center, because you couldn't just set, we have wildfire problems here too. Right. So they don't allow that. So that was actually wonderfully peaceful to be up there, because people just couldn't do that, and they didn't. It was, they follow the rules. So there wasn't going on. So this will be a very different experience for us to be in a town with it all going on.
Well, I can't wait to see what kind of statues they build in your town, if they're similar to the ones here, if they use a different I think artists or artistry, or different thing, because we've talked about how they are very similar, the statues, even they're all different.
It'll be the same.
It'll be the same, you think?
I think it has to be. Well, I mean, I have seen them, and in all the places that I've seen them outside of the city, they have the same look that you're talking about. They're built the same way. That is a tradition, the way they're built. Well, we talked about this in our episode, I think, from last year, is there are traditions of how it was built, and then new ways that they're building, and blah, blah, blah. So I think it'll be, but it's always fun to see what they built, because that is always unique and interesting.
And it'll be interesting to see if what their tongue-in-cheek they're making fun of is more local to your town.
That's
are they
going
to make fun of
our mayor.
Local mayor?
Or the foreigners that came in and don't know what they're doing here. Who knows? Just never know. Anyway, that's a little tangent. Anyway, but so anyway, we have this wonderful interview coming up. So we hope everyone enjoys it, and
this is our second interview, so we hope the sound is good. We're still getting out our what's the word I'm looking for? Bugs and technical difficulties.
Absolutely.
But enjoy. Hi, Kenneth. How are you doing today?
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
So Kenneth is our local Argentinian butcher, I guess. Is that the best way to describe your title?
Yes, more like a franchisee, I would say. I mean, I don't have a butcher. I'm not a butcher. I was more looking into opening up a business here in Spain when I moved in 5 years ago, and I just happened to fall into this line of business.
Not a bad line of business, can I say? You have a beautiful shop, and you are around the corner in the neighborhood that Gaetano lives, not where I live. So I popped in and purchased some of your, I don't know what the exact name for it, but it's like beef hamon, and it was
cecina.
So good. Yes, delicious.
Yeah,
but you do offer a lot more than that, but that was what I chose out of the array of deliciousness that was there.
Exactly.
So Kenneth, how long have you been in Spain or in Valencia?
So I've been in Valencia about 5 years. So I came right after the pandemic, when the pandemic closures in Argentina were like a little bit longer than the rest of the world. They kept us locked in a lot more. But basically, as soon as we were able to get out, we moved here. So that was, believe late 2021, early 2022. We moved. We moved with the idea of coming straight to Valencia. We had not lived here before. Just to give you a little bit of background, I lived in Madrid when I was a kid. I did all my teenage years as a kid. I finished high school in Madrid. And then I moved to Argentina, and I lived in the U.S. for a while, and I lived in Mexico, and different countries. I did an advertising career, so I worked in different agencies, in different countries in the Americas. But I always had a very strong attachment to Spain. Such as so that when I lived in Spain, I got my Spanish nationality back in the day. So I always had that.
Nice.
Although I hadn't really, after I left high school, I hadn't lived here ever again, and I lived in Madrid. But after the pandemic, me and my wife were kind of like out of business, basically, because we both had businesses running in Argentina that we had to close down, and we had to think about restarting again. And the social and political situation of Argentina at the time was pretty rough, I would say, to think about starting a business. And I mean, the whole world was really, because it was post-pandemic. But
Right.
we were back to a reset, and we decided, okay, if we're gonna start again and put a lot of effort into it, and we had just had our daughter, we were like, let's give it a try, and give it a try in Spain, and try to live close to the beach. So we started doing our research, and Barcelona came up, Madrid came up, and eventually we ended up deciding on Valencia because it just, all the check marks were clicking perfectly.
I
Yes.
feel like that's how a lot of people end up here. They sort of have dreams
Exactly.
of other places maybe, and then once you start narrowing it down, I think,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a young family, like a good place for a family. It's, the cost of living is not as expensive. It's perhaps a little bit more laid back. It's a city that's not over 1 million in population. I think it's 800,000.
Right.
So if coming from Buenos Aires, this is like a really small city for us. But it was exactly what we were looking for.
It is
It-
a very small city.
yeah.
Did you like know that you were going to be opening a business here, or did you kind of come here and then sort of think about what you could do?
No, I mean, I knew we were coming to Spain with the idea of opening up a franchise.
Okay.
We didn't really know exactly which one. Of course, I did a lot of research on the subject before arriving Spain, and my mind was fixed on doing something like one of these empanadas
Mm.
places,
Mhm.
um, which which was like a really big franchise. It has over 50 stores, in all of Spain. So it was like the classic franchise type situation, like offer that I was looking into. But then when I moved in, I went to check out this store, and it was okay. It was all right. It was kind of what I expected. But then right beside the store, there was a Bistec store, basically.
And that's the name of your store. We haven't mentioned that yet.
Yes,
So
we have.
Okay, exactly. So Bistec is the store that basically I saw that was right beside this empanadas place, and I was like, wow, that looks like a really cool store. And I've always been a lot into meats, like I'm always, I like barbecuing, and I knew my fair share of meats and how they're raised, and cattle and all that stuff. And so I went into the store, and I met the owners, and I told them I had intentions of opening up a business, and we kind of agreed that they were also kind of looking for someone to start off like a franchise type model.
and there and the store you're talking about, it wasn't in Valencia. It was somewhere else.
Oh
Yeah.
no, this was in Madrid. Sorry, yes, this was in Madrid.
So they weren't a franchise yet. They were just like one store that was interested in having more.
Yes, yes,
Great.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a learning experience for both the franchise and the franchisee.
Mhm.
And, so we agreed on doing it, and that's when I moved to Valencia. We were still thinking about coming to Valencia even before this business proposition, but we came to Valencia already knowing what kind of franchise we were looking to open.
Okay.
So the truth is, we came to Valencia knowing very little about the city. We looked for like a hotel or an Airbnb that would be the cheapest, to be honest.
Right.
So what we ran into is we went to live in Alfafar, which is not really in the city. It's like about 10 minutes away from the city, down
Right.
south. And we stayed at a hotel there, and we kind of drove into the city every day for about 2 weeks, trying to get to know it. Which was awkward in a way because we didn't know anyone. And it's not like we could just meet up with a friend and they could take us around the city. We just basically
Right.
came in with a car, and we just walked around the city with our 2-year-old, and kind of discovered it on our own.
That's kind of a good way to do it, though, since you had to drive to stay outside of the city and drive in and out of the city every day. Gives you a unique view of neighborhoods that you probably never would have gone to if you weren't driving through them.
Correct,
And
correct.
you, yeah, more ability to look around, I think.
Right, and to be honest, also, Bistec is kind of like a store that is probably a better fit in like the outskirts of a city where people have more houses and grills and somewhere to cook the meats on.
Mm-hmm.
And I so that forced me to go and look around the outside of Valencia. But we noticed that like all of the businesses were really pretty much concentrated in the city. There was not.
Right.
It didn't seem to be like a bigger opportunity outside the city. So we just looked into the city, and we just got really lucky with the place that we found, which is in the Canoas area, which we're in Joaquin Costa Street, really close to Colon, and it's
You're
a
very
really
central. I mean, it's a beautiful shop, a beautiful area, and it seems like your type of shop would want to be there. So I think what'll be great for everybody to know is, first of all, tell us a little bit about all the delicious things that you offer in your shop, and then because that'll entice everyone to Valencia, having been there myself. And then maybe we can just talk a little bit about like what the process is of opening a business as a foreigner in Spain and in Valencia.
okay. So the store is different from many stores in Valencia. This is like a meat boutique, rather we like to call it, rather than a butchery, because basically you have all of the meats and everything presented. They're all in vacuum sealed packages, ready to go, and it's not like your traditional butchery where you could come and ask for a certain meat, and I just have them all hanging out there, and you can choose what you want. Over
Right.
here, it's like a different model, which exists a lot. You might see it a little more. You especially see it a lot in Argentina, but you'll see it in Madrid. You'll have more of these stores. But in Valencia, I'm basically the only one that has opened up this concept of store, which is, the vacuum sealed meats of like really high quality meats. What we have is mostly Argentinian Angus grass fed beef. It's grass fed, grain finished, so it's like really top quality. And apart from that, the store theme is everything surrounding meats. So you'll have the wines, and you'll have the coal, and you'll have the seasonings, and you'll have the rubs, and you'll have the sauces. Everything that I can relate to meats is what I try to have in the store.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been already almost 4 years. Of course, just to tell you a little bit of how things went from the start. So basically, as I told you, I was the first franchisee for this company, and I had to do like everything from scratch.
So it was more like starting your own business versus.
It was starting my own business, but having a good crutch, which were my business partners.
Mm-hmm.
That are in
But it was
Madrid.
that's a commitment to be the first franchisee as well. Like, I mean, that is a
Oh, of
commitment
course.
too.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're all highly invested in making this work, and I was very fortunate to find good, honest people behind it. The franchise world is difficult, as I've heard in Spain. Um, One specific thing, to give you a tip on franchises in Spain, and I don't know if it happens elsewhere, but what happens here a lot in Spain with the franchisers is that they offer a really good product, and that as a franchisee you're obliged to buy it from them,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
and that kind of limits your movement, because if they want to raise the prices on you, you have no other option than have to buy them. So you have to be really careful about what franchise you select, because
Gotcha.
there's many franchises that will get you into the business, showing really good numbers, but then when things are doing good, they can very easily squeeze you.
Mm.
And that is something which is like, for me, is something I didn't know before coming and opening up a franchise. And then I read a lot into it, and apparently it happens a lot with different franchises.
So
In my case,
sorry,
excuse
do
me.
you have a, sorry to interrupt, do you have a, like, is that part of then really looking closely at the contract you have with the franchise to make sure that they can only do so much? Is that?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that's like my big advice, or at least to know that that's the situation,
Mm-hmm.
because in my situation, of course I am obliged to buy meat from my source,
Mm-hmm.
but my source is really good, legitimate business people that are looking to make my business work, and they give me a really good product at a very good price, or offering a really good margin for my business. So that's the best of all cases. But the real truth is that I need to have to trust this person to actually give me really competitive prices, and to not take advantage of me in the long run if they want. And when they see that my business is doing really well, they could easily just raise the prices on me and take a cut of what I've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is it's a little bit of a it's something to watch out for on all on all franchises over here, depending on what the business is, but especially on like when you sell food or products of the sort.
Yeah.
Um, but in any case, I think I was very lucky. I ran into the right people, and so they helped me out a lot. And I had to come here and basically look from the start. I had to look for a place to put the store in. Um, that was it was kind of easy to do because this was post pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So, and which was purposely done by me, of course. We came here with the idea thinking, we're going to start a business, we're probably going to have a lot to choose from, and the business is probably going to be a little bit slow to start off,
Mm-hmm.
because of that whole post pandemic situation. But we were able to find a really nice spot. I believe that we got really lucky, but and the place was an absolute ruin, which in my case was fine because I had to do a lot of construction in it, and to put it into the looks of the what the franchise requested. So whatever would have been there before, I would have had to take down anyways. So I was lucky to find a place that was in a really good spot, and I was able. It was like a clean board, that I was able to just do the work that I had to do on it.
Did you find when you were looking, and this might have changed because of like the timing that you were here, when you were looking around for places, were most places that you were looking at locations that you would have had to do work on, like it was really old businesses that have maybe gone out, or did you find a lot of places that maybe were in good shape? I
No,
mean,
no. The normal thing would be to find a place that is in decent shape and that you could use as is.
okay, and you
And
found enough of that in Valencia.
oh yes, I mean at the
Okay.
time there was like a huge amount of offer. I don't
Mm,
think that the situation is like that anymore. As a
yeah.
matter of fact, if you walk around, the blocks around the store, you'll see like most places are being taken over, or they're actually finishing things off.
Hmm.
But there's not so many like free places to rent anymore.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. I mean, even the couple of years I've been here, I've seen the storefronts are filling up. There's less vacancies. But I had a question: was starting this business, was it so you had the support of the franchise, even though you're doing this as a new franchise, everything's new. But in dealing with the government, was it easy to start this? I mean, was there like a checklist from the government, just follow these steps? Or was it like every time you went, there was a new rule and a new thing and a new.
No, no, no. It was actually pretty easy, to be honest. I of course I hired at the time I hired lawyers to do all the contract with the franchise and everything, and that was really easy. Although I have to admit that I paid more than I should have, because it was I was kind of a bit scared at the
Hmm.
time, to not fall into the wrong hands. So I paid that extra money,
Hmm.
and then the construction, or the engineers that actually do the whole plans for the store and everything, they were recommended to me by the franchise.
Okay.
So that, of course, the franchise added a lot of value in that sense, because I don't know that I could have done it on my own,
Mm.
because I had never done such a thing. But
Right.
basically, what you need is an engineer that knows the kind of business that you're in, and so they kind of design the different the store. The whole design of the store is thought following strict guidelines
Hmm.
how a store of this that sells meats has to be. So you have to get the right people to do it, and they have to follow the law basically. And there's many like silly rules, like having to put exit signs where you wouldn't even need one because the store is so small, but you have to have it all done anyway. So there's a lot of rules that you have to follow. But I suppose if anyone that's looking to do this kind of thing would need that kind of specialty job done. They, they designed the store meeting all of the standards for the kind of business that you're running. I'm sure like my business is a little bit tougher because I handle foods in here and I handle meats.
Right.
So there's like a lot of like hygiene needed, and and many strict rules in how you store your food and the refrigeration and all that. But it was everything was designed, and thankfully I had the franchise offering up the right people to do the job. And they literally came in from Madrid to do it all.
Oh, nice. So
Yeah.
the other question is, you had already had your Spanish national. You were already a Spanish national from your youth.
Mhm.
So that, I'm assuming, made the process easier. Do you know any either EU nationals that are not Spanish nationals or foreigners? Have any of that community of people you talk to that how their experience might have been different from yours? I'm assuming.
Well, I don't know how it would be for not like absolutely like non-European, nationals. I would suppose that it's not as easy, or you would probably have to get some kind of special visa saying you're investing a certain amount of money. I think that there is that possibility. But in the case of being European or Spaniard, it's rather easy. I mean, I just the first thing I did when I got in was open up a bank account, which was very simple because I had a passport, and was able to get all of my social security issues working once I opened up the store. If not, you had to pay for it initially. But I opened up what is it? A limited liability, una SL.
Right.
Like an LLC type of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like an LLC. So as soon as I had that, I was able to get my insurance, and I was basically like employed in a way, and I had all those benefits for me and my family. But of course, I'm sure that being European made things much simpler. And I know that, and I have met Italians or Germans that were in the same situation, and they had no issues. I mean, I think you just have like a little extra step if you're Italian that you have to do, like bureaucratic step that you have to do, but it's nothing mind-boggling. Yeah.
As far as the people that you're hiring, I think people might be surprised how much lawyers are used here for everything. So that's obviously something that is good if you have a good recommendation of a good lawyer, not you to give, but if somebody is to do this, make sure you're using someone that's recommended. I'm assuming you also had an accountant that's doing your accounts. Did you have anybody else? Like, what's your team of external people that you needed in order to open your business?
Well, I have an accountant. I started off with an accountant in Madrid and the lawyers in Madrid because that's where like I started everything off, because that's where I moved in when I just moved in. And that's where my sister lived, so I stayed at her house for a little while, and so I got all that solved. But then once, I'm sorry, I forgot your question that you asked.
Just what is the team of external people? Have like a lawyer, an accountant. If you
I had those, but then once I moved here, I noticed that it was better to have an accountant that actually like lived here and could come to the store and so because I worked with the ones in Madrid for about a year, but eventually I worked with one over here, which is like a very well known company. I think it's called Sentia Alliance. It's the company. I think it's a worldwide company, but
it's a big firm.
Yes, it's a pretty well-known firm, and he basically does all my numbers and all my taxes and all that. I'm pretty bad at all that stuff. I'm glad I have someone that does it for me and will recommend how to go about the stuff. But it's probably like the equivalent of doing taxes in the U.S. Only you can't really do it on your own here because it's
so much.
Pretty messy. Yeah. You need someone to do it for you.
I think it's good advice overall that whenever you open a business, hire people to do the things that you don't know how to do or you don't like to do. Because there's so much work anyway. So if you're trying to do things that you don't know how to do, it just makes everything so much harder.
Oh yeah, I mean it'll cost you a little more with the lawyers and everything, but they'll walk you through it, and you do have to do, and it also it makes the process much faster as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you like decide to do it on your own, you know, it makes everything longer, and you know you have to make longer lines, and you know instead of when you have the people involved, you know you skip all of that.
Yeah.
But you know the bad side of it is that you kind of end up not knowing anything of what you're doing.
Right.
Doing what people are telling you to do. So then that kind of catches up with you sooner or later. But it does get things solved much faster. Yeah.
That's true. Do you have
But right
any?
now, as a team, I have just this company that I work with, and initially I had the engineer that did all the you know designed the whole store and everything. They also get all the permits. So they also have to go and you know and present you know the LLC as we talked about, and you know what kind of business I do, and you know they have to present exactly like how the whole store will be designed and where the refrigerators will be and everything. It's like a whole big plan that has to be presented, and that I was not a part of. Like they did everything, thankfully.
So it sounds pretty easy. I mean, you just need cash coming in, but it sounds like it was pretty easy. No,
I know. I'm actually like making it's not as complicated as it may sound. I mean, that same person did it all, and they kind of do this on a regular basis. But as I tell you, it's because I had a franchise behind me, kind of leading the way.
Well, that's what I mean. It sounds like
would
a
have been
pretty easy process. That sounds pretty awesome. Now, in that, are there any tips of wisdom you have to offer someone who's like, I'm going to move to Spain and open a business? Is there any tips for you? I mean, for them that you have?
I mean, on hindsight, for me in my case, I think I was very lucky. But to find the right place to put the store and everything is kind of essential. You know, location, location, location. That's really important. I think I got lucky, but I was very close to not getting it right, and I was just tipped off by someone right at the right moment, and I decided to come to this neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, I would advise trying to get to know the place a little more than I did.
I was going to say, given your business and what you're selling, I think you are in the perfect neighborhood, right? So this is...
Yes. It turned out that yes. And it's also like a good corner because you can basically leave your car parked right in front and just hop on into the store. And it's a street that's really wide. So like, you know, I get many clients that come with a car, and that's also a plus.
And nice. double, triple parking. To be clear, I don't think there's parking spots necessarily outside.
Oh, no. There's
but in Spain, in Valencia, it is perfectly normal to double, triple park your car because we have these big kind of roundabout areas without the roundabout in the middle.
Well, it's the intersections. Our intersections are parking lots.
They are parking lots, and you can, yes. And it's totally fine. And the police will just drive by your car. It's got the blinkers on. You can pop in, chat with Kenneth, pick some meats, and still get back to your car and be totally fine. As a driver driving in Valencia, I know this, and it does. You're absolutely right. It's not like you're getting a parking spot in your neighborhood.
You're not going to find a parking spot. You're going to learn really quick because you're not going to find a parking spot. So you're going to have to learn just to double park.
Yes, and it's perfectly fine to do that. So if you do swing by the shop, just do that.
Yeah.
So I guess since you've been here for 5 years, I guess we should ask the question, because we like to ask. It's what Tanya and I keep talking about our show, and what we'd ask people is, so you've been here 5 years. What have you noticed that has changed? What is your take on from when you arrived to now?
Oh, wow. Well, I think we're seeing a lot of people come to Valencia constantly. Lots of foreigners, like from Latin America and from the U.S. and from Canada. It's amazing to see how many people. Maybe it's also that this one neighborhood is a foreigner favorite as well, I suppose. But you're seeing a lot of them come in, and I welcome it. It's great. You know, it's a really nice atmosphere of of different expats. I got a lot of expat clients that share their experience with them, and I would say that 99% of the cases, everyone's super happy with the move of coming here,
Yeah.
As am I, it's a kind of strange, the amount of people that are in your same situation, it does feel like it's a place where so many people are coming in. I know some Valencians have an issue with that, with the gentrification of the city. But I have a more positive and open view about it, because I think it's making the place a better place.
Right.
Fantastic.
My theory is because people complain, and it is, the prices are getting very expensive and doubling in a very short amount of time, and there is a valid complaint to that.
I think it's a problem that happens in a lot of places.
Right.
Around the world, really.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, I've been here the same amount of time. We moved in 2020, and a lot of the changes for me have been the difference between being here during COVID and post-COVID and everything coming back to life after. So it is nice to see everything just flourishing and businesses like yours popping up and having a more eclectic kind of business and restaurant environment, I think. And businesses like yours really, I think, are crucial to that happening. Mm-hmm. I think as we wrap up this, is there anything about your business or anything in particular that you want to just mention the name of your shop again, obviously?
So my store is Bistec Valencia. We're on Joaquin Costa and Borriana, Joaquin Costa 30. And basically, I would recommend you to give it a try. It's honestly really good meat. The store looks fabulous. Everything looks nice from the outside, but in the end, what really matters is the product. Mm-hmm. And I can stand behind my product. It's really good meat, and I get constant comments about it. So you gotta take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
While it's still a secret.
Not anymore.
Well, you have a beautiful shop with amazing products, and thank you so much for your time, Kenneth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Well, Tanya, that was a successful interview, I think.
That was amazing. I mean, I do love his store. I've only been there a couple of times, and it is amazing. So I would definitely recommend everybody go down there if they can. And
for sure,
he was very informative, and that I love that, because we do want our interviews to give people something that there might be people that are thinking about opening a business here, and I hope that was informative on making it sound good, because he had a good time opening the business.
He had a good time with no major hurdles. No. Yeah, it sounded. I mean, I think it's getting my juices flowing. What's the business I'm going to start?
What business? Spain, the shop. What do we sell?
Spain, the shop, yes.
I don't know what to sell.
Tote bags and water bottles.
I think we need to come up with a better plan.
Well, if you want a tote bag and water bottle, I think we have merchandise available on our website.
We do. Yes, we don't need to open a store for that.
All right, Tanya. Adios.
Adios. Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Our Spain.
We really appreciate all the support we have received since we started this podcast.
Visit ourspain.com for transcripts to this and our other episodes, some exciting merchandise, and if you are so inclined, there is also a link to buy us a coffee, which helps support this fun endeavor.
And please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Our Spain Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you're listening.
It really helps us stay connected, and we'd love to hear from you.
Let us know if there's any topics you would like for us to talk about. Even though we are happy to talk about anything, we also want to make sure it's informative for you.
Exactly.